Let me at the very outset compliment the officers for organizing this workshop oblique meeting today towards indigenization of the Indian currency. In the last 1 year, the Honorable Prime Minister has mentioned this on more than one occasion. Every time the officials of the Finance Ministry have met him, and at the function of the Reserve Bank in Mumbai a few weeks ago, he publicly also mentioned it. That it's about time that we started at least printing our own currency with our own ink and our own paper. It's not merely symbolism. I think it also represents a thought process where there's a desire to bring back Indian manufacturing at a particular level. We in this country have a history of missing out on industrial changes. The first industrial revolution almost bypassed us. And then came a second great opportunity. And the second great opportunity was when manufacturing started shifting in a large number of items to economies which had styled themselves as low-cost economies. So in the last 20-25 years, this was a significant change. And I've always repeated this, that this change took place because consumers is a very intelligent group of individuals. They want good products, they want products at competitive prices, and therefore they will always buy when a good product at a competitive, cheaper price is available. They won't go in for the more expensive ones. So a large number of economies, most particularly China, several other Asian economies, some economies in other parts of the world also benefited because they chose areas of their core competence and went in for low-cost manufacturing. And what were the ingredients required to be put into that low-cost manufacturing was really how do we cut costs. Now cutting costs had several ingredients. It had ingredients from at what cost is the infrastructure for that environment available to you? What are your highways, your roads, your connectivity to your industrial centers, to the ports, to the railways, to the airports? At what cost are utilities available and is power 24/7 available and at globally competitive cost? The cost of capital, the labor regimes, the kind of licensing pre-91 obviously was a hurdle, and thereafter the long time taken in the grant of various permissions itself was a challenge. And I think obvious of all these factors, India, and represented through its Prime Minister again, has now given this great call for Make in India. And it's extremely important that when you make quality products cheaper and of great quality, then you don't only cater to your own consumers, you also cater to consumers in other countries. In services, we've been able to make this headway. And there's a great challenge that we have to make this headway even in manufacturing. Now, if we look at the agricultural situation today, amongst various challenges is the extent of underemployment there. And therefore, if the present status continues, the problems of the present nature will also continue. And that is why you need to somehow remove that extent of underemployment, and a large population has to be transferred from that sector into the manufacturing sector, as also other sectors. And manufacturing is where big jobs are. In the amendments proposed to the land law, one of the amendments is the creation of industrial corridors. Now, these are not industrial hubs, these are not industrial parks, it's corridors. So running across along a highway or a railway track, you have a series of industries. So every village on that route down the road will get a facility of having a large number of industries where a number of rural youth can come in. Many of them are landless. You have 300 million landless people there. And these landless belongs to weaker sections of society. Dr. Ambedkar used to say that the upliftment of Dalits will only take place when in the rural areas industrialization takes place. And therefore, when alternate channels of employment are there and families start depending on incomes other than agriculture, that you are able to resolve part of the present distress. It's therefore extremely important that on each of these fronts we have to move, and time is running against us. And therefore we can't merely be satisfied with a slow incremental growth in manufacturing, because when China grew at a fast pace, the growth curve in industrial activity was really very sharp, and that pioneered its growth. And therefore, it's in sector after sector we have the best trained human manpower. That's our great asset. Our second asset is that the cost of that manpower is today extremely competitive. In fact, I have heard Chinese leaders, when they rationalize the lowering of their growth targets, refer to the cost of manpower in China going up in comparison to their neighborhood. And therefore that's another advantage that we have. We have an ability for research and technology. Therefore creation of that infrastructure, extremely important. The other silver lining is that power today is available almost in surplus. There's more power available than there are takers, and with the energy situation, some radical reforms having taken place in recent past, there's going to be another big jump in it. And therefore we obviously know that the corrections which are required by us in the near future are those areas. It's in that context that this industry is not merely symbolic of a national pride or honor. It's a part of that manufacturing activity picking up in India. After all, what do you need? You need paper to be manufactured in India. 1968, Mr. Morarji Desai, as the finance minister, launched the manufacture of paper, but that was paper for some small denominational notes. And we've continued a good 47 years with that. We've now started, last week, manufacturing paper which is required for Indian high denominational currency notes. But that's also only a fraction of our requirement. Some 6,000 tons out of the 20,000 ton requirement. Very soon the plant and the machinery at Mysore will get ready. But the requirements will also go up. Printing ink has already started being manufactured. Printing will take place in India. And there's also the need for inducting and specializing ourselves in all the security features required. You need transfer of technology for that. You need your own research for that. You need to have our own machinery for intellectual property protection strengthened as far as that area is concerned. And I'm sure today's meeting, dealing with a particular sector, a very sensitive sector, will send the right signals. It will express our determination that we can manufacture every ingredient of India's currency requirements in India and then look at the rest of the world. There are areas where we've done it. Today in the conduct of elections, we are virtually a global leader. The most developed countries are still going by obsolete methodologies. And therefore we've moved far ahead of them. And therefore let this be one area which is an area of future. And I'm sure when I say that the requirements will go up, I am proved wrong, because with the developed world having moved substantially to plastic currency and payment gateways, I think there is a need for India, and our determination is there to gradually take steps to move in that direction. And that will be probably a situation where your Mysore and Hoshangabad plants will then be able to manufacture sufficient and do away with the foreign content as far as the requirements are concerned. I wish your deliberations a great success today.